Hello and welcome to another MyMusic. Now, it feels like last week I let you all down a little bit because I only did one interview. Sorry about that. Some weeks are busier than others, as it were. And last week was one of those weeks. Just had an awful lot going on in life in general, which meant that, I couldn't do as many of these. But don't worry, I'm going to make up for it this week by annoying the hell out of my family and doing lots of them. But there we are. Don't tell them, and then they won't know, because they don't keep up to date with what Dad's doing. So there we are. Today I'm going to be speaking to Katya. Do you pronounce it Katya?
Yes.
Yes, as simple as that. About her life in music and her journey around the country at the moment as she follows Paul Carrack and his band around the place, lifting all of his instruments for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's what you have to do when you're on tour with someone. And we'll find out what it's like being on tour with Mr. Carrack in a minute. But first, whilst you all make yourself another cup of coffee, see what I did there, we'll all watch this video.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
Welcome to the show. And you said at the moment you're where? Because you're in the process of doing this.
Yeah. But I'm back in London for a couple of days, and then off to Leicester on Thursday. But I'm playing on Friday.
Have you ever played Leicester before?
Never.
There you go.
Yeah, a lot of these places I've never played before, actually. So
have you been to any of them before? That's the thing.
No, it's not actually that many, which is kind of bad. But also, it's an amazing way to like go to new cities. But at the same time, you don't really get time to.
You don't really get to see them, do you? I mean,
yeah, it's kind of a shame. But you get a little taster, so that's nice, and then you can go back. Hopefully, I can play them again.
Let's just talk we don't want to center on it, but let's talk very briefly about this tour, and then we'll talk about your music in all great depth, etc. I've got some great questions for you. Don't worry.
Nice.
But in terms of this tour, how did you land it? Because this is a great tour for getting people to know you, right?
Yeah. It's a bit of a mad story. So a couple of years ago, decided I really want to play festivals, as everyone does. So I just decided to like write to a lot of them. Like I did kind of some deep diving on the internet, and like, I've been to quite a lot of festivals, so I kind of knew for a few of them like which stages might be appropriate and stuff. But it's quite hard to find like who to write to. Anyway, so I did a lot of that, and then I wrote to one of the festivals I wrote to was Glastonbury, and I wrote to a few stages, but I wrote to the acoustic stage. Some of them you just like can't really write to, but anyway, the acoustic stage, actually, it's quite easy to write to them. And yeah, they booked me. And so I played there in 2023. And then as a result of that, I kind of halfway through the year got booked for this, was offered this tour by the person who books the acoustic stage, who is also Paul Carrack's booking agent, which was amazing because obviously it's a humongous opportunity. Like, couldn't have even dreamt of. So yeah, I'm so lucky. And then I played again on the acoustic stage this year because they don't actually book the same acts 2 years running, but someone dropped out and he obviously knew I was keen, so he got me in there. So,
did they tell you after saying, "Oh, we'd like you to come"? Did they give you any kind of story about did Paul Carrack get in touch with them? What did he listen to of yours?
I actually don't know that information. So
okay.
Yeah, no, I think so. The booking agent, Paul Charles, I think he's been his agent for ages. So I think maybe he suggests people and I actually don't know. It's something. I mean, I do see Paul Carrack a bit, but I haven't quite asked him that question yet. Did you listen to my music? Did you? But I know that it would have come from the booking agent. So yeah, and I'm sure he like trusts him. So he's just so supportive. Like, it's amazing. I'm really, really lucky to have someone like him kind of in my corner helping me out, because it's quite a tough road, this whole thing, you know, to navigate on your own. So to have someone who's like got so much experience in the industry, who's like just there to try and guide you without any, you know, vested interest, really, is I'm really lucky. So
Yeah.
yeah.
When did you first become aware of Paul Carrack's work?
Actually, I've been to a couple of his shows like a few years ago, probably in like 2017 or something. Because my dad books lots of concerts and stuff, which is amazing. So we've been to like a lot of Eric Clapton and stuff like that in the past. And then a friend of his said, oh, there's, you know, this guy Paul Carrack who plays in Eric Clapton's band sometimes, but also obviously has done loads of other stuff. And so my dad had never seen him on his own do his own show. So then we went to see him. So it's just an amazing coincidence that like then I was offered this, and actually I've already seen him like a couple of times, and like, you know, I'm a big fan of his. It's just, yeah, it's amazing how that works out. But yeah, it's so nice to go on a tour of somebody who, like, you know, you really respect their work. So
yeah. Now the end of the tour is a biggie for you. It's a biggie it's a biggie for anybody. So you're playing the Royal Albert Hall.
I know, crazy. Crazy. I don't think I've fully like taken that in. I think before the tour, I don't think I'd even like fully taken in the tour, because it's so different. And also, this is like, you know, this is someone who's so experienced that they know exactly what they want. They bring their own like sound system with them, they lights and everything. So I don't think I could have like ever really imagined what it would have been like.
Yeah.
It's just professional. So I think, but before starting, I think I just like hadn't really, I knew I was going on tour, but it hadn't properly dawned on me because I didn't really know what to expect. And then obviously I think I've got the same thing with the Albert Hall, where I'm just going to like arrive and be like, wow.
Yeah.
Computed it, yeah.
I mean, as you head towards that, are you thinking about how you make that night as special as possible? Is it kind of dawning on you that you're thinking, right, actually, is there something I can pull off here that's, you know,
different?
Yeah, or just, you know, or can I pull on to do a duet, or can I, you know, can I? Well, you know what I mean, or yeah. You know, or do I find someone that will do something with me, or something for one song, or
I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah,
what you're allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, yeah. I mean, as a support act, I'm sort of not trying to. I don't want to push it too much, you know, because yeah, I'm not really sure where the line is. So
okay, I'll do it for you, Paul. If you're listening, I think what would be great, because it's the Albert Hall, you know, etc. Would be to do one song with Katya, wouldn't it? It'd be great to do a duet. Yeah, as part of your set, maybe just bring her on. You know, she's there anyway. So
I'm always sort of singing along to them.
Yeah. Is that a good idea? Do you feel like that's okay? I've just pushed it now. I did that. You didn't do that, so
I didn't do it. Yeah, it's out there. It's just out there. Believe it.
It's just out there, and that's good. Well, when did you first start making music?
I've been making music, yeah, for a while. I mean, I started writing songs when I was like maybe 11 or something. But I was doing. I played classical piano and violin first, so I kind of had that foundation, and then really wanted to, like, you know, play more modern stuff. So I was desperate to play the guitar, and that's really when I like started writing pretty quickly, because it just lent itself to, I don't know, yeah, I think I felt freer. And then I just became like really obsessed with writing my own stuff, and I'd play it to all my friends, and that was just when I was at school. And everyone was so excited. And then I remember I like won this school competition, like a talent competition thing, and I playing my own songs.
Wow.
And I definitely wasn't like the best singer or whatever, but I think because I was playing my own stuff, and I don't think anyone else was. That's probably why I won it. But I think that feeling of like, oh my God, not just playing other people's stuff. It was like, I'm playing something that I've written and people have decided that they like it and they've voted for it and whatever. That was like, you know, quite a monumental moment, I think, for me, for realizing like, oh, you know, obviously the songs, now I look back at them, I'm like, oh, they're terrible. But, you know, it was interesting, that connection with people. And I think that's what really like drove me to want to continue writing.
It's interesting, those school days and you know, experiences you have there, and then maybe it takes a long time actually for it to really resonate as to what they actually meant and how they might have pushed you. I won a competition once when I was at school, which was the school chatterbox competition. Which is interesting because, and it's why it's interesting is because actually people would look at me doing this all day long and go, well, that makes complete sense. But what was interesting about it was that all my way through school, I was actually really quiet. And I wouldn't actually say boo to a goose.
When did you win that prize?
So that was in my middle school. So I was about 11 or 12.
Suddenly something happened.
No, it didn't. It just I knew how to act in front of people, right. and I knew how to deliver, but that didn't mean to say that I felt comfortable on a social basis. You know, that was something completely different. I think that took a lot, probably not until university days, really, that suddenly got a lot easier, where I could go to university and become someone else. At school, you know. So I think it's I think sometimes we look at people and we go, oh, they're that, and that actually, especially with musicians as well, quite often, even if they're up on stage and they're being all kind of, you know, flamboyant and whatever else, people assume that they're naturally extroverts, but that's not necessarily the case.
No, actually, it's so funny. My godmother, I think the other day, she said something because she was like, are you enjoying, you know, I love performing, but I think this is like next level shows, aren't they? They're pretty big, these shows. She's like, are you like, how are you feeling? You know, are you okay? Are you like getting nervous? And I'm like, no, I just love it. Like, I just love it so much. And I think because I'm maybe not like obviously in different environments, I'm different, but like, I'm not the loudest person in the room or anything. So I think she wouldn't necessarily presume that I would love it so much on stage. Yeah. So it's just so funny that it's like, it's just a completely different thing. It's nothing really to do with how you are.
Yeah.
I think
I was completely, that was completely me. I mean, people used to assume that they'd see me on stage and I'd be all over the place and I'd be, you know, jumping on them and whatever else. And then they'd assume that, you know, off stage I'd be exactly the same, and I wouldn't. I'd just probably toddle into the corner and have a quiet drink myself.
I always think that about comedians, because I'm like, it must be so hard because they're expected, even more than like musicians, so just expected to be like funny and entertaining all the time in social situations. Like even I would expect that of them in a way. Like I'm guilty of it. And then I'm like, some of them are just like quite shy, or like you said, just want to be quiet and have a drink.
Yeah, that's it. That's their half an hour of being that.
Exactly.
And it's taken out of them, etc. Tell me about your latest song. Are you a good gardener?
No one's asked me that before. Actually, that's quite funny.
There you go.
Am I a good gardener? I would say I'm not. No, not really. But I love like vegetable patches and kind of. I'd love to have my own place where I could like grow all my own food, and that would just be.
So what's the ideal would be sort of like one of those vegetable gardens you get at like a National Trust place, something like that.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be great. That's the dream.
Marvelous. With like rows of runner beans and different types of lettuce.
Yeah, I just love it. I think that's so
chard.
I don't know, you just get so like lost in that. Anyway, but I'm not. Yeah, if you put me in there, I wouldn't know what I was doing. So, but no, I'm not really green-fingered particularly, sadly. But
you like. There's obviously something about gardens. So gardens are a metaphor for, in your case, what?
So, well, this song, I used the garden as like the metaphor for this peaceful place, basically, where you kind of. The song came out of this documentary I watched about the Hubble Space Telescope. Well, actually, I always say this when I'm on stage, but then I don't get to say the full story because there's not enough time. And I'm like,
go on, then you can now, and then people can watch it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's quite funny. I was watching this TV series called Devs, which was fine, and I'd like got to the final episode, and it was like mind blowing. It was all about quantum mechanics and computers, but it was like sci-fi. So there was this moment where it was all to do with like time and multiple universes and whatever. And so it was pretty mind-blowing at the end of that. And then I don't know why immediately after I watched this documentary about the Hubble Space Telescope, and maybe because I'd like just watched that other thing, my mind had already been kind of opened up a bit. And then I watched this Hubble documentary, and I kept pausing it during it because I was actually like understanding what they were saying on like a physical sense, like as if I was like, usually you just watch these things and you're like, oh, interesting, intellectually, but I was like,
you were in it
as if I was sort of high or something, but I wasn't. And I was, I had the zoom out feeling where I was up in the stars, kind of looking down on Earth, and it kind of generated this like peaceful feeling where you're away from all the suffering on Earth and all the kind of pain of things on Earth, and just that peace up there. And I don't know where the garden really came from, but it was like this just came, like garden in the sky was like a metaphor for that. So it's not, I don't actually see, when I say garden in the sky, I don't really see a garden so much. I just see like a peaceful place in amongst the stars.
That's interesting. You don't actually see a garden, but you use the word garden. I know.
Yeah, I don't know why even it was, this song kind of just came very easily without much thought particularly.
I suppose you were maybe in some way trying to relate something that is very tangible to everybody to something that's more non-tangible.
Yeah.
Gardens are peaceful spaces, aren't they? So
exactly. Yeah. And I think like a garden, I think that's probably the reason why I'm trying to just remember why I actually did.
How did I write that song? What did I write it about?
No, I think it's just, I think as well, like nature brings peace and just that feeling, that feeling of things coming and going and the fluidity of.
Well, I was going to ask you about that because as you're going around the country, do you find like, because I live not too far from the sea, and for me the sea does that.
Yeah, no, I get this. Yeah, I agree. The sort of expanse of the sea, and I think
just you look at it and you just think there's, especially on the day when there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's just water. And it's just great. And also there is a peace to it, especially when it's calm, but there is a peace to it, but there's also there is a sense of like the power of it, even when it's calm, which is amazing.
Yeah, and it kind of puts you in perspective. I think, or your own problems or whatever's going on in perspective, which I think is another thing that I experienced in that whatever happened to me when I watched that documentary.
Yeah.
But my friend told me that there's a paper written about something called the overview effect, which astronauts get when they go up into space and basically have the same view as like what
have that back down to Earth.
Yeah, and that, like, it's called the overview effect, and they kind of have this overpowering feeling of like, you know, wanting to protect the earth, or like wanting to kind of protect people, and like
Wow.
that feeling of coming together and looking after each other and everything. So yeah, which was quite mad as well. I read this paper about it afterwards, but
Oh, you read that?
well, I read part of it. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's really into like the moon, and
I love that. So they're up there and they have that effect, and then suddenly Hal says, "Hey, Dave," and then they go, and it all comes crashing down again. Wow.
yeah.
Do you find yourself writing about big topics then? Do you find that like big topics are in a way easier for you to write about, or, you know, big thinking stuff?
I mean, I think I often have these ideas, maybe philosophical kind of thoughts sometimes, that come into the writing process. But I think often I actually bring them back to my own experiences. Gun in the Sky, I think, is probably the only one that I feel like is a lot more. There's so much in there actually that's also referencing like Strange Fruit, a song by, well, it was sung by Billie Holiday, and so there's just like a lot in there that is probably a bit different to some of my other stuff. My other songs are maybe elements of that, but also really quite based on like my own personal experiences. Like I've got the next song coming out, which is called Spirit of Your Roots, and that's kind of about finding a sense of belonging from within yourself and like the people who've come before you. So I kind of related to me. I went to live in Georgia for a year. I'm like partly Georgian and Armenian, but I didn't have any family there or anything anymore. But a little bit of family in Armenia, but really interesting like history. But I learned all about it, like quite, you know, we didn't know everything about all of it. Anyway, it's a long story I'm not going to get into, but and so it made me think about kind of who's walked in the same footsteps, or that people just, I don't know, sometimes I feel like we're looking for acceptance from people around us all the time, and like actually sometimes if you remember the people who you kind of come before you, you've been part of something bigger. And I don't know, I like those types of thoughts, but then it's quite related to like also my own feelings when I was writing the song at the time. So it's kind of a mix of my own personal experiences and those kind of bigger ideas.
Something quite cathartic about that as well. The fact that actually, if we think about it, you know, over years and years and years, there's been people that have gone through pretty much every level of emotion and experience and whatever on the earth, you know. And so when you suddenly realize, like, because in the tragedy of a moment,
I know,
you know, it might suddenly feel like I'm the only person that's going through this.
Yeah,
there's been thousands of people that have gone through this before.
I know, it's so hard to like remember that when we're in, you know, it's like you have to be in a constant state of, you have to do meditation all the time, really is the ideal, but I don't do that enough.
Yeah. How do you work out how you're going to approach each song live? Because you obviously can play multiple instruments, etc. I've seen, you know, you'll do one song and you've got you know, it may be more guitar based, and then another thing you're hitting away on one of those beat controller things and whatever. But so how do you approach how you're going to physically do that song live?
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, because I think I really want to like keep mixing that up and trying new things, and it's sort of about
so a song with spoons.
Yeah, well, actually, I had a song with you. But yeah, I don't know. I think I find the balance between like what I should play. Yeah, exactly. What I should play, but also making sure that I'm like delivering the song well enough as well. So it's kind of like, I think I just decide which elements maybe would be more partly like interesting for me to play live, but also like interesting to watch. So, you know,
Yeah.
having a bit like playing in these sort of bell sounds on the pads and things, and then I've got some string samples on the keys for this intro track I've got. But then, yeah, I don't know, for something like God in the Sky, originally I wrote it on guitar, so it was like a completely acoustic track. And then I decided to produce it and created this whole like soundscape that it now has. And so I just found that the piano like sounded best for that. So that's what I played for that. But yeah, I think, how do I sort of really ideally I'd love to like be able to kind of switch between things a little bit more and like do more within each track. But at the same time, I don't want it to kind of detract from my delivery.
Yeah.
Because
No, that makes sense.
Sort of that fine line between being able to deliver it.
Well, that's kind of given me an idea, because I've been thinking all along, you know, whilst we were talking about it earlier, what you're going to do at the Royal Albert Hall in order to, you know, really lift the moment, and without necessarily, you know, taking away from Mr. Carrack and or getting him involved, because you know he might be busy. So why don't you do the old sort of trick of getting people in the audience to be an instrument? That's great. I love all that, don't you?
That is cool. I love when what's he called, Jacob Collier
does that. Yeah. Oh, and they'll go, oh, yeah, it's brilliant. You could do it in a kind of subtle way, maybe.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I have to think about which element. No, actually, that'd be quite interesting. I'll have to think about it.
There you go. If that happens, that was my idea. If it doesn't, it wasn't.
If it fails, it wasn't yours.
If it fails, it was my idea, right?
No one sings. God, that'd be so awkward.
Look, that wouldn't happen, right? That wouldn't happen. Not with an audience that size. They would definitely go for it. I look forward to that. If it happens, what you need to do is you need to film it as well.
Yeah.
You need to make sure someone's there with their phone or their camera or whatever, and get that. Because that will be the moment then. That's your viral moment that will just propel you into.
I actually had a thought I would like get lots of people to have pans, because I have this track, this like alter ego thing.
So you've got to get this past security.
Yeah, everyone's got their saucepans, and then suddenly for the last track they're like all tapping that pan.
Excuse me, security at the Royal Albert Hall. Would it be all right if people brought large metallic objects in to bash? Oh yes, I know they could be used as weapons, but I'm pretty certain that, you know, people that are coming to see me and Paul Carrack aren't of that ilk. So I'm sure it'd be completely safe. No, would be the answer to that.
Lines to pass security, like no one would get.
Well, what you'd have to do is you'd have to do like the Coldplay type thing, where you issue everybody them at the door and then collect them all back in again. But I'm pretty certain you'd be bankrupt.
Yeah, those are goals. You know, those are like future goals that I can aspire to.
Maybe you could like get 6 or 7 frying pans and just issue them to a small number of people.
Yeah, I could do that.
And see, you know, or get them up on stage to play. That would be good.
Yeah, that would be quite funny.
I quite like that.
I actually did it. I did that track for a friend's birthday, and I got some friends to come up and play the pans, which was really funny because obviously, like, they didn't know what they were doing, so it just created like even more kind of just bang, 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 bang. Nothing was in time. It sounded quite.
I love it. Completely unsyncopated. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So listen, after this tour, which is, you know, probably seems like a million miles away, but it will soon come around, etc. What's next? Because you've obviously got to utilize probably a rest for a start. But after that, you know, keeping the momentum going, etc. What's going to be next on your agenda?
I mean, got so many things I want to do. But I'm going to be putting out this sort of EP. So that's a good thing to be doing at the same time. And then also, yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get other supports and things like that. You know, I want to have my own headline show as well. But yeah, I've just been writing to like try and get lots of different supports for other people. And
Cool.
yeah, I mean, I've been kind of in touch with a lot of people trying to just get opportunities or invite people down to some of the shows to try and maximize on the opportunity, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, I kind of just want to keep moving forward.
Keep moving, keep going forward. Now, listen, if people are coming to the shows, do you have your own merch? Are you allowed to have your own merch? Or
Yeah, I don't have. Oh, I'm selling CDs, which has actually been.
CD?
It's quite funny at the beginning. I
Oh, you
didn't have-
made those, didn't you? You made them. You went and got a
I didn't have
CD
them.
burner and went, shh. Yeah.
Really old school. But I didn't have them because I think I just didn't really know whether people would. But I wasn't really sure completely whether sort of Paul's audience, how they would respond to my music, etc. Which is silly, really, because they've been so supportive. It's like incredible. And so yeah, now I've got CDs. Haven't really got anything else merch wise. Maybe we can.
Or maybe for the Royal Albert Hall, you can sort that out. And actually, what you could have is you know, to make it kind of interesting would be like, you know, when you go to these big shows and then you come out at the backstage doors and whatever afterwards, and then there's always people selling knockoff merchandise. Well, your merchandise could be outside.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
you could get Terry standing there going, "Katya t-shirts."
Exactly. Yes.
You know, and it's not actually knockoff. It's the real deal. But you're just selling it outside. Yeah, that would be interesting.
At each door, all the way around.
Terry at each of the exits. Yeah, get your Katya t-shirts here.
I really need. Actually, my mum is pretty good at that kind of thing. She's the one like handing. I've got cards.
Would she be there? She'd be there doing that, would she?
She's running around handing out the cards. She's really on it. Because I'm just like I find it so embarrassing, like giving, you know, I'm fine at the merch stand and people come and chat and they've bought CDs, it's amazing. But I'm just like, giving out the cards, I just find that quite awkward. I mean, I think it is just harder for the artist doing it than like someone else. But anyway, I'm lucky to have her. She's the PR lady on it.
Do you tend to stay around after your shows to talk to people? Or?
Yeah, I always say to people like, I'll be out by the merch stand, so come say hi. So I've had amazing, you know, it's so nice because I think, yeah, it's a bit of a shame when you've had a show and then you don't really you get the feedback on stage, but you don't get to really hear what people have to say. And they've sent lots of people have sent me messages and stuff, but when I actually meet them as well, it's just so nice. Like the things that people say, I just never would have dreamt. It's like the detail that they give as well, what they felt about a certain song.
At 2 minutes 38 into this song, you it's like
that type of detail. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be quite impressive actually. No, but
I'd be running if someone started giving you that granulated detail.
No, I've had a lot of like spiritual comments.
Oh, really? Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, just lots of things really. Also interesting to hear like who people think I sound like.
Oh, right. Oh, go on then. Before we finish today, who's the?
I've had a few.
Pick one where you thought okay, and then pick one where you thought nah.
No, I don't know about the nah. I can't remember. No, I think
that's politically incorrect. Politically correct of you to do that. I think. Go on then. One where someone said, "I think you sound like," and you went, "Oh yeah, I'll take that."
Oh yeah, I had Imogen Heap and Brian Eno like as one, which I thought was quite interesting.
Oh, so the music sounds like Brian Eno.
I don't know really, but I just thought it was quite an interesting
it's experimental in some
but
respects.
I think my songs are quite different. So it's then I've had someone say Jungle, which is like completely different to like that vibe. But depending on the song, I think. But
Imogen Heap though, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like London Grammar. Anyway, you said one. I should stop.
Well, London Grammar. They're there.
Okay.
And actually, they're about to go on tour as well. So you never know.
Well, exactly. Should get
Yeah.
in there, slide into their DMs.
I think you should say, I'm currently on. What you should do is slide into their DMs and go, I'm currently on tour. I'm going to be doing the Royal Albert Hall soon. So how about, I'm here.
Come watch my set at the Albert Hall.
If you'd like to take me to Madison Square Gardens, I'm available, later in the year. Yeah. That's brilliant.
All
Well,
right,
listen,
I will.
I hope you have a great rest of the tour. Thank you so much for coming to talk to me.
Thanks for
today.
having me.
I'm glad you've managed to finally get out your entire Hubble telescope story, and I'll make sure that people can now come here to hear it in its entirety. So you don't have to. You can just now abbreviate it completely and go, I've got this Hubble telescope story that goes with this song, and it's on a podcast, so you can go and listen to it.
Exactly.
Fine, I'm going to get on with the song now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope it all goes really well, and we'll follow you with real interest to see where it all goes, because I'm sure it will go up into the greater sky and around the universe for the greater good. Folks, this has been Katya. I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation. If you have, then this has been MyMusic. Please do share with all of your friends, etc. If you haven't, then sorry for wasting 36 minutes of your time. Sorry about that. You can get that back, though. Do remember to fill in the form that's available to download on somebody else's website and get your 36 minutes back. Until next time, bye from us. Take care.
Bye.